Welcome back, everybody. This is the at AI.law podcast, which is hosted by the Success Partner. And I am so excited to have Don Rea in the studio today. He is going to be giving us a demo of the Westlaw program. So, Don, just take it away.
Great. So hello, everyone. And what I'm going to be focusing on today in the next couple of minutes is a primer on Westlaw's new AI tool that is called CoCounsel. I'm going to share my screen with you and walk you through some of the basics of the AI tool. So you should be seeing now a basic research screen for Westlaw. Uh, just as an aside, Lexis has a similar AI tool, but I'm a dinosaur. I've been using Westlaw for 30 years, so
Did
I don't
did they
switch
sign you
this.
up? Did they sign you up in law school?
Yeah, they did exactly.
Yes.
So I'm so used to it. But what you should see, and if it's enabled on your Westlaw functions, you'll see it at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It says CoCounsel with three little diamonds. If you don't have that function, contact your Westlaw technical support because I believe that this comes with the service. It's not a cost add-on. You don't have to pay additional. So the first thing you do is just either enlarge it to the side of the screen so you can see research results, or you can go full screen with the function. And it's fairly simple to use. The first thing you do is type in a question, and I will go through um, ways to ask questions particularly, but the one I chose here is, can a case be removed to federal court based on diversity jurisdiction after a complaint is amended? You can either hit the little paper airplane icon or just hit return. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you a prompt when you type this in. And the prompt is right here under AI Assisted Research US. It's asking, what sources do you want to answer or use? There are two primary sources. You can drill down from these. I suggest that you don't, and I'll explain why. But the first is AI assisted research, and that is going to research all of your databases, all cases, statute, everything. So you don't have to select, like normally when you do research, you say all states, or you say all feds, or you
Mhm.
do statutes. This will search everything for you. Or
Oh.
you can select search and summarize practical law. If you're doing a particular pleading and you're looking for drafting suggestions, practical law is useful because it will give you the practical law database of all of your secondary sources, forms, Westlaw's practice toolkit. Historically, personally, I haven't found these to be all that useful to me. I'm so used to drafting things and preparing them myself. But on occasion, if you have a case that you're not entirely, the subject matter you're not entirely familiar with, this can be useful. So I, 9 times out of 10, I'm working in AI assisted research.
Okay.
You just click the black box and it will begin to search the system. You'll see the spinning circle of death while it's doing it. You'll also see down here, grayed out, reading 10%, 2 to 5 minutes. It does take time. You have to be patient with the system. One thing I suggest while it's bringing up the research results is I often will use Westlaw's AI research platform in connection with a non-legal database like ChatGPT or Claude. Claude is one of my favorites, not to promote a product, but Claude is is a more generative AI. It
Mhm.
quote unquote thinks more, and so it will dig deeper and mine more relevant information. And I have found in a slightly more advanced manner than ChatGPT. ChatGPT was one of the first, and it's kind of consumer based. It's for
Mhm.
the folks out there that are not as technical. Um, The reason why I use these in conjunction is because Claude, a non-research based um, AI service, will give you a lot of common terminology that you can then plug into your questions. Why is this important? You have to be very, you have to word your questions very carefully in order to get the right results. For example, if I search, do you have to state an affirmative claim for prejudgment interest? What I will get back is a very general answer saying prejudgment interest can be awarded as a matter of right or a matter of discretion. Prejudgment interest has to be definitive, and here are the factors. All of those basics are not the question I'm asking. So, a more specific question is, if I do not assert a claim for prejudgment interest under the terms of a contract, is it waived? That'll get you a very different answer. Claude helps me formulate the wording of my question into a proper and specific enough format that when I plug it into Westlaw, it bangs out the right answers.
That makes
So
sense.
here, I've done both research facilities for you. The first here that you should see on your screen is the AI assisted research throughout the US. And it gives you first under the question in bold and then a basic answer that you can use. Sometimes I've plugged this into my pleadings and reworded it when I've used these answers. Here is a tip that I have given folks that I've helped with this. Do it every time. There is a little download function here. As soon as you get your research answer, download it. It will say Word document with explanations and resources. Click that automatically, and it will download it to your desktop in a Word document. Why is this important? Because and now you should see the Word document on your screen. And
I
then
do.
I save this. I put on my in my document management system a general research file. When I was with a major firm, we tried desperately to have libraries of research and memos, and it never worked out. Now, what I do, instead of putting my research into individual case files and then trying to go back and remember, when did I do that prejudgment interest thing? Oh, yeah, that was that case 4 years ago. I have a research file with dated research. I put in my year, day, and date, and a basic title, and I can go back and I don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. Now, why do we download to this document? I'll tell you why. Let me go back to my research page. Bear with me. So back on the Westlaw page. Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
okay.
yes.
So this has hyperlinks, and you can go to the statutes and cases that you want to read that answer your question. So a case can be removed based on federal diversity jurisdiction after a complaint is amended, provided that certain statutory requirements are met, meaning that diversity is created. And it tells you the statute. If you click the hyperlink, you'll go directly to the statute, which is good, except this AI is tricky. If I go to the statute, which is now here on my screen, it is hard. It is a multi-step process to get back to the AI answer and look
Yes.
through the rest of your notes. So it's
Mhm.
Westlaw, I think, and I've sent them an email to work on this so you can click back and forth with one click easier. But you have to go back into the AI, you have to go back and expand it. And sometimes it won't come back to the direct answer. It'll be all the way down here, or it'll be a blank screen. And I'll show you how to get back to certain chats. So I hold it out as a separate Word document on the side because the hyperlinks work just as well in the Word document. and will
Okay.
pop you back to Westlaw. And you have your research saved that way so you can use it
Hmm.
time and again. I have found mostly I use the AI function all the time now. I don't do a research with the Boolean searches or the old plain language search that you can do in Westlaw. I always use the AI because at worst, it's giving me an outline and also telling me the areas that I don't need so I can hone the search better. It's a great starting point. And if your question is particular enough and worded well enough, it is pretty darn good at giving you the answer wherever it finds it, even with some pretty obscure um, questions. The prejudgment interest question I asked
Hmm.
AI, I did do recently because there was a claim that came up, but the claim for prejudgment interest was not in the original complaint. You'd
Okay.
be surprised, there are very few courts across the country that
Hmm.
have addressed that specific issue, but the AI function found them. So let me talk about the wording a little bit. On your screen now are a couple of different ways to word the same question. And this is what I went through as I was honing my research. I just started out with, does a party have to affirmatively assert a claim for prejudgment interest? Now, you're all
And
smart lawyers. You probably look at that
still
and
have
say,
the
well, what
co-counsel.
does affirmatively
Oh,
assert mean? And
yeah.
I did the same thing. So then I honed it a bit. Does a claim for prejudgment interest have to be included in a complaint? It got a little closer on that one, but it was still telling me prejudgment interest can be awarded different. It was giving me the substantive law of prejudgment interest, not the procedural aspects of it. What I got down to was this version that is highlighted.
We're still seeing the co-counsel page. Do you have
Oh,
a
I'm
different page
sorry.
up? That's okay.
Yeah, let me get over to that and make sure that's
We're
on.
all we're all guilty of the multiple tabs.
Yeah, boy. Okay, here we go. Now you should see the Word document. Got it? With questions on it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So these are the different questions that I refined as I was going through my research. And the last of them is here. And this was the one that got me the precise answer I wanted. Is a claim for prejudgment interest under the terms of a contract waived if it is not included in the complaint? And of course, as the law would have it, the answer was in some jurisdictions it is, in some jurisdictions it's not. But now I know where. I then followed that for the jurisdictions that are unclear with, is a claim for prejudgment interest ever waived? And that came up with some very useful results too. So honing your research doesn't necessarily mean making the question longer and more specific. It just means thinking about exactly what you want to ask, which may even be a much more general um, question. The reason why I also use two different AI functions is because I'm cross-checking always. Never trust AI fully because garbage in, garbage out. It's going to give you the research it can pull from its databases. This is far more true and it's far more sketchy with general AIs outside of Westlaw. Westlaw's AI function is really good because the databases are really good. But even then, if it misunderstands the question, um, then you may get slightly incorrect or inapplicable results. Always check the sources, always check the sources, read them for yourself. Um, Make sure that what is being said is entirely accurate. Sometimes, and this is something that even the generative newer AI bots like Westlaw's will do, is they will pull a concept like the proverbial young associate used to pull the head note and not read the case. They will pull a concept and not realize that the rest of the case may refute that concept in a much more in-depth analysis. So AI is your starting point, and it is an excellent starting point, but always check your resources. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Don. I really appreciate that. And I also use the multiple modalities to get different perspectives, definitely different perspectives on how to phrase it, how to frame it. And we always are taught with AI, like more context is better, more, but in some cases it's not. It's just the correct context.
Yeah. And that it's yeah, wording the phrasing the question the right way always helps, and drilling down always helps. But it's a great tool. It's made my researching a lot quicker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how long do you think you've been using it?
I found it about 8 months ago.
Okay.
And I think they've been refining it because it's gotten
Yes,
better. Either I've gotten better at asking the questions or it's gotten better at
both.
giving the answers.
Both.
But just within the past 30 to 60 days, I started using Claude as a support for it,
Mhm.
and it helps me hone the questioning and think through the issues better. So, but I would say it's saved probably 30% of my research time, which saves my clients an awful lot of money, as well, and gets, things organized for pleadings faster too, because it gives you a pretty well organized answer.
That's wonderful.
Thanks for
Well,
having me.
wonderful. Well, tell our listening audience a little bit more about your practice.
Absolutely. I have been practicing for 33 years. I am a B2B trial lawyer. I focus mostly on real estate, construction, and finance. I worked my entire career at mega law firms on bet the company cases for Fortune 100 companies, and decided in 2023 to hang out my own shingle and open my own practice. And I haven't looked back.
Wow.
And yeah, it's been wonderful. I can represent smaller clients now, which is what I've always wanted to do, and be more competitive with the rates, and take on the type of work I love. So it's been great. And if anyone ever has any questions about AI or otherwise, shoot me an email, donrealaw.com.
Thank you, Don. I so appreciate you coming on and doing a demo today. So this was an at AI.law special produced by the Success Partner podcast. I'm your host, Daya Naef, and please like, subscribe, and stay tuned.
So yeah.